Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Aging and Spirituality podcast. And hopefully today will be another day that we inspire you to be more of who you really are and let your most beautiful potential come through. I'm
Mhm.
Chris Jensen.
I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
We are so happy you're here. So today I want to start out with a kind of odd question. I sometimes do. Are, are you deciding who you are, or have you let others do it?
Oh, that's interesting.
This may seem a little odd, but the answer is key to whether we tap into our potential at any age or stay stuck in old habits that may not be the best for us. Stay tuned if you want to hear how you can take control of deciding who you are, or at least move in that direction, what you'll do with the rest of your life, and how to overcome the angst about what others think about you.
Hmm.
So, why you shouldn't let others make decisions for you. Most of us lost sleep in high school if someone thought you were a nerd, right? Or too wild, or they didn't like what you were wearing. You were like up all night fretting about it. I mean, did that impact the way you acted after that?
Sure.
Probably, sure it did. Do you even remember it at all now, though?
Nope.
Oh, you see, it was like the biggest thing in the world then, but now it's nothing. Uh,
Yep.
People thought I was too skinny. That was a problem I had. I was put ahead in school, so I was a year and a half younger than the other kids, and I was thin by nature. And so I got, kids were always telling me I was skinny, and I got kind of, they teased me. And I would say in today's culture, you would say it was being bullied for being too skinny.
Sure.
You know, and I tried all kinds of things to gain weight, to make myself look heavier. None of it worked. Do I even care about that now? I laugh about it now. Well, I didn't laugh at the time. And
Yeah. Yeah.
there was one thing my mother told me. I mean, some things she told me like didn't mean anything. Like she said, "Oh," she says, "don't worry, in 2 years they're all going to be fat." But that did not help. But
That sounds like something your mother would
I
say.
know, I know.
Back then, oh, no, blah, blah, they're going to be
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah. But there is something she did tell me that did help me later on, and that was don't let anyone else tell you who you are.
Hmm.
And I started thinking about all this when I recently heard Kamala Harris say that her mother told her the same thing.
Oh, wow.
Look where she is now.
Wow. I
And,
didn't know that. Huh.
it's an interesting thing. Letting others control our decisions prevents us from achieving our goals, from letting others tell us who we are,
Yeah.
takes us away from who we are and our goals.
Mhm.
So, my advice is start taking control right now. We all want to achieve our goals. We want to control the end destinations of our journeys. When we let others do it for us, make decisions for us by telling us who they think we are or critiquing us, we're forfeiting that. People can hold you back if you let them define who you are and what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Women have had people all of our lives telling us things we can and can't do. I made sure that when my daughter was little, I had a book called Free to Be, You and Me. And I
Fun.
worked with her on you can be anything you want to be. It was really an important thing because I didn't want her to live with the stereotype
Right.
limitations, and people will hold you back. We all know good people, but on the other side of the coin, and here's the thing, this was painfully true when we were young. People can hold you back if you let them define who you are. But it's also just as painfully true now. Ageism is a really limiting thing. Just like I was helping my young daughter overcome limitations of being female because she had none, but people were going to be telling her she did. It's the same
Mhm.
thing with ageism. People are trying to limit us with it. And the thing is, we don't have to accept that. We
Yeah.
don't have to accept it. There's a funny story in yoga. This just came to my mind. But there was this monk, and this guy started insulting him, and he said, and the monk didn't pay any attention to it. And so then the guy said, don't you realize that you're really hurting people with all your teachings? And the monk didn't pay any attention to it. And the guy said, don't you realize what I'm saying to you and how I'm insulting you? And he said, well, you've given me your insults and I don't accept them. You can have them back, you know.
Landing on the wrong person, buddy.
Landed on the wrong person. I mean, we're not realized beings, but we could be.
Yeah,
Why not?
that one. I
Why
like
not?
that.
We all have that potential. And there are, we all know people who've been in a bad situation, and despite all odds, they've turned it around. I think we've all done that. We've all been in situations like that. So we can turn anything around. Some things to overcome the angst that comes when others try to define you. Because, it's natural to want others to want to like and respect you. But worrying about it, about thoughts and letting it hold you back from a fulfilling life, from your potential, is a different thing. So we've all had stuff we worry about that doesn't matter. I mean, have you ever laid in bed at night and thought, oh my God, I left my mic on during that Zoom meeting? I mean, your colleagues don't remember it. Maybe you're stewing about it, but nobody remembers it. So maybe you're concerned about the outfit. We tend to spend untold energy worrying about how other people perceive us. And
Yeah.
any amount of praise is immediately overshadowed by one drop of criticism.
Right.
And I think that's true of all of us. I mean,
Yeah.
And there's no use acting like we don't care about what others think, because it's probably not true. But there are ways to lessen the burden and not let their opinions define you or hurt your mental health. So I'm going to talk about some of those things. Caring about how people perceive us, helpful or not. Taking others' opinions as truth can lead to a vicious cycle of insecurity and vulnerability. But caring about how your actions impact people around you, now that's important. You want to make sure that your actions are kind and as uplifting as possible. You don't want to unwittingly cause harm to someone. But although it might cause temporary distress, adjusting your actions to remedy things like that is worthwhile. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about caring about what people think. That's not helpful.
Right.
Here are some indicators that the opinions of others might be harmful to you and your mental health. You change yourself in response to criticism, regardless of what it is and who it comes from. So how do you get unstuck from this? I'm going to tell you some things to try. And I'll go through just a few things that are an indication that you're letting other people define you too much. The next thing is you let them make decisions for you. You don't set boundaries. You're a perfectionist. You hold your tongue if your opinion differs from anyone else's. Your peace of mind relies on approval from others. You're constantly apologizing when you did nothing wrong. Women are really good at this. And you rarely say no. I look at my 2-year-old grandson. He has no problem saying no. No.
Yeah. True. They got no
But
barrier.
we get it burned out of us. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to get unstuck. Expect and accept that people will have opinions of you. So there's no use trying to avoid all judgment. It's impossible. We're judging creatures. For better or worse, assessing other people is a natural part of social interaction. So prepare yourself for it ahead of time. A simple mental reminder, if you're going into a situation, that others will have perceptions of you, even some that may be inaccurate, can help you just know that and let incoming critiques roll off your back. That's not who you are. That's their issue. It's not who I am.
It tells you a lot about them.
Yeah, it tells you more about them usually. Take back control over your own feelings. Other people might have poor opinions of you, but that doesn't have to translate into you feeling bad about yourself. It's not the same. When you can't control how other people perceive you, you can lessen your worry and angst about it. So consider practicing some mindfulness Mindfulness is great. Learning to be in the moment can help you cope with those unwanted feelings. In fact, psychology, and psychologists recommend, and this is all over the place, various psychologists, that meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, mindfulness, those things will help you to start to feel your sense of inner worth and inner power so that you don't just absorb what other people say and do about you. I want to wait to the end of this, and I will share a mindfulness breathing practice that I did in a yoga pranayama class that I think is very, very helpful in this kind of situation. But I want to share it at the end. I want to go through the other points first. So the next one is to remember that everybody makes mistakes. Perfection is impossible, so expecting it is futile. More important, judgment for failing to attain perfection is unproductive, unfair, and unhelpful. I mean, I know people that have enormous talent and they never do anything with it because they're afraid it's not perfect enough. They're afraid of the judgment. They're afraid of judgment about it. And keep in mind, anyone who thinks badly of you for making some slip-ups has made mistakes themselves. Plus, making mistakes at work or in personal relationships can be an important part of self-growth. Look at them as learning opportunities, as being human. In yoga, we say that everything in life is for our experience or our liberation. What that means is we either learn and grow from every experience and we let it enrich us, or we have to experience it again and again until we do learn and grow from it. So,
Yeah.
so I think about that. Maybe someone says something, some critique to you, and maybe you did make a mistake. So look at what you can learn and grow from it. That will take you out of the angst of, oh my God, poor me. It doesn't tell you who you are. It helps you overcome any problem. We all make mistakes. Develop your sense of self and build confidence. Self-reflection can be a really powerful tool. So there's some difficult questions to ask yourself. Who am I? What do I care about now? What do I enjoy? Sit quietly and honestly ask yourself these questions, and then just sit there and be open to receiving a response. There's a yoga technique where you chant, who am I, over and over and over and over again. And one great yogi, his main practice that he gave to people was to do that 10,000 times a day. And they ultimately realized that who they were was that beautiful consciousness within. They were a being of love and joy and power and goodness. But just ask yourself those questions because that lets you know who you think you are and what you care about now and what you enjoy rather than what you're being told you should. You're developing a value system that's important for a strong foundation for you to live on. So people may critique your beliefs or actions, but if they're grounded in values, the criticism is less likely to stick. Confidence and developing a sense of self go hand in hand. Be confident in who you are. Often it happens when people find a spiritual path that they like. Other people will be walking behind them, critiquing it and telling them it's not good or whatever. And, you lose friends that way, but that's okay because they're not really friends. You get that self-empowerment. So the other thing is don't try to read people's minds because you're probably wrong. When most people have some idea about how they're perceived by others, they have major blind spots. People often associate traits with you that you have never even considered. The most well-adjusted, this is from psychological research, the most well-adjusted and emotionally stable people have the least amount of insight into what others think of them. It's an indication that constantly worrying about what other people think is not only stressful, it's not helpful in any way.
No.
It is just not helpful. Yeah. And then consider the source. Caring about People, what people think is natural, but some people's opinions are much more important than others. And a family member saying that your behavior negatively affects others, you may have to work with that a little more than a random stranger who says you don't smile enough. But you need to be who you are, not who they want you to be.
Yeah. What do you carry?
That's the key right there. Know that you're usually your own worst critic. Isn't that the truth?
Yes.
I mean, psychology research tells that we often believe people judge us much more harshly than they actually are. In reality, we are often much harder on ourselves than other people. I always think of it this way. What's your self-talk when you stub your toe? Would you ever say those things to anybody else? You jerk, you idiot. I mean, you wouldn't say it to anybody else.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tend to think that one slip up will mar how people perceive of us for good. Well, it's true that first impressions, they can make a long and lasting impact. One mistake is unlikely to change their overall judgment of you because everybody makes mistakes. And then the other thing is surround yourself. Well, there's two more things. Surround yourself with accepting, supportive people. Friends and family members who are constantly judgmental can take a huge toll on your mental health. And knowing that someone you care about has a negative opinion of you is very hurtful. So try developing relationships with people who embrace your true self and people who are supportive and willing to talk, even if they're a little judgy. As best you can, when you're opening up to tap to your best potential, try to talk with and share with people who are open-minded, especially in the areas that you're interested in. I mentioned earlier, like when I first got on the yoga path, there are a lot of people that thought I was nuts, and they kind of drifted away, but
No way.
I found new people who were much better for me to be around because they were so open to these higher values that I was now interested in.
Yep.
So the thing is, when we step into new adventures, new careers, something like meditation, we're likely to lose judgmental friends who are threatened by our new journey, but don't make their limitations yours. That's their limitation. You're on a new journey. You're on an adventure. They may not come on it.
Yeah.
They don't have to hold you back. And this is a very important thing. Hold your own judgment of others. The next time you meet a new colleague or a friend introduces you to their partner, hold off casting the blanket judgment about them. Even if the first impression isn't great, give them a chance. You don't want to be judged, so don't judge them. By accepting others, the acceptance of others can help you let go of what others think of you. It's very, very important.
Right.
And if you know you're giving people benefit of the doubt, you're more likely to think that others are doing the same for you.
This is true.
That is so big in not letting yourself be limited by other people's consciousness or their world. Their world is smaller than yours, maybe. So
Get back what you put out. Yeah.
those are my tips. I like to do this one practice that we're just going to do a few of this, but it's really a fun thing. It's a mindfulness lotus breath technique. And I think
good.
you'll have fun with it. But if you're feeling like someone just said or did something that makes you start to get that feeling, like you may be starting to cave into their limitations or they're just making you feel bad. So here's what you do. A lotus flower at night, it's closed, in the daytime, it's open. So this is a breathing practice. So you start out with your hands. I'm going to show it to you first because it involves the hand movement. This is the close. Then we inhale, we do a diaphragmatic breath. So inhaling, allowing the abdomen to puff out, the chest, and then the upper portion of the chest. And then when you exhale, you open it. You exhale through your nose and you open your hands. So we're going to do 6 of those breaths. So we'll do one together and then you guys can keep going on your own. So we're closed. We're going to start now. We're going to inhale. We're opening. And then we're going to exhale. We'll close our hands. And go ahead and do it 5 more times by yourself. Your mind starts wandering, bring it back to noticing the breath. Feel more peaceful already?
Yeah, I've never done that one before. Is that weird?
Yeah.
Or maybe I just don't remember. That's
No,
really,
it's the first time I've ever put it into my,
really is
yeah.
calming, very calming.
It's very calming, and you just keep your attention on the breath. Your mind starts to go all over the place, but it'll take you out of the momentum. It's going to take you out of that feeling you get
Reactionary.
when
Yeah, that
someone thinks you're
reactionary.
not right. And you can do this up to 10 times. I wouldn't do it a million times, but you could do it a few more times and just let yourself flow with it. So those are my tips. And
Beautiful.
let's not let anyone else define us. Let's open that door. The world is large and our hearts are large. The consciousness within us is large if we just let it express.
Yes, be who you are. Be proud of who you are.
Be proud of it. Yeah. Enjoy
It's
who you
awesome. Good job. That was fun.
are. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. See you next week.
See you soon.